Real stories of werewolves, of dogman from history, from your emails, illustrated and animated with the democratizing magic of machine learning AI. Welcome to Scary Stories.
Werewolves are liars. Dear Scary Stories NYC, people tell me that there are different kinds of werewolves, but I only know one kind. And that kind of werewolf is a liar. 100% guarantee every single time. If you know about some other kinds of werewolves, please tell me in a comment under this video, and in the meantime I'll explain why I feel the way I do. I used to date a werewolf. I didn't know that's what she was at first. I just thought Barbara was a hot redhead, you know what I mean? I think I found out that she was a werewolf around the same time I found out that she was a liar. Let me try to remember exactly how it all went down. The two of us had decided to attend a beach party that one of my bosses was throwing. Almost everybody there was over my head socially and financially, and I was hoping Barb and I could make some good connections and get ahead in business. But once we got there, I lost her in the crowd somehow. I kept mingling throughout the night and asking people if they had seen Barbara anywhere. I got negative responses for the longest while, until one person I asked pointed off in the distance and asked, "Isn't that her with that muscular new intern?" Sure enough, it was my girl, and her arms were wrapped all around a young gentleman who indeed had a muscular frame. I saw red. I felt red. I heard red. Steam came out of my ears and my nose as I charged over to ask the two of them exactly what was going on, as quietly but forcefully as I could manage under the circumstances. Barbara wasted no time in lighting into me, shouting loudly about private matters. People were pointing at me and laughing as she bellowed out details of things I had never thought she would ever share with anyone for any reason. She stormed off, and like a confused mouse, I followed after her. I was hurt and I was taken by surprise. I thought everything was okay between us, and I wanted to understand what was happening. She told me she had never been faithful to me, and she started listing affairs she had been having with friends I thought I could trust. She tore my entire world down around me and laughed as she did it. And then, when the two of us were completely alone and away from the other partygoers, sort of underneath this old pier-type construction, she turned on me, and I watched her become a monster, something as hideous on the outside as she had always been on the inside. First, her eyes started glowing an unnaturally bright amber sort of color. Then I noticed she had dog ears, like wolf ears I mean, up on top of her head, not on the sides. It didn't take long for her to become something like out of a horror movie, still wearing her t-shirt and jeans, but she wasn't a human being anymore inside of those clothes. I was looking at a creature with a dog head, covered in fur. I was not looking at my cheating girlfriend at all. I screamed in fear and ran away from there, off the beach and to my car, escaping her and going to stay for the night in a motel, where I hoped she would not be able to find me. I was so scared that I didn't get much sleep at all. Well, you would have thought that was the end of our relationship, and let's face it, it was, but unfortunately I continued to know her for some time afterward. She mocked me to all my friends and coworkers, some of whom she had had relations with, while I felt some sick sense of loyalty to her for some reason. I never told anyone back then that she was a werewolf, for one thing. I don't know if anyone would have believed me, but in either case I kept it to myself. In retrospect, that seems insane to me, but that's the truth of what happened. I also stayed friends and coworkers with a number of the guys she had cheated on me with. I wasn't really in a position to just quit my job, so there wasn't much I could do about it. I would have liked to go move to Honolulu and begin a fabulous new life, but instead I stayed in the Midwest and I ate dog crap from these guys, who viewed me as a laughingstock. One of them moved in with me for a while, but I kicked him out after he, too, became a werewolf. Long before I noticed that he was a creature like Barbara, I noticed that he had begun lying to me. He lied to me even when he had no reason to lie to me. He lied to me even when he knew I already knew the truth. He sometimes gave me 2 or 3 stories about the same incident, and each story contradicted the other ones. It reminded me of my later days with Barbara. She had begun lying to me that same way, but I was initially in denial about it. I kept telling myself that I was imagining things because I thought I was in love with that girl. Well, I didn't think I was in love with this guy, so it was a lot easier for me to spot the lying. And since I knew for a fact that he hadn't always been that way, he used to be honest, I knew something had changed. Something had made him this new way, and my first guess was that it was Barbara. I guessed that he was a werewolf, and so I set about to antagonize him. Barbara had only transformed in front of my eyes after I got her good and agitated, so that was my plan with this evil doofus. He got home after work one night and I just started picking on him. Whatever he said, I disagreed. Whenever possible, I reminded him of lies he had told me and times he had lied to me. We began arguing, and then it got louder and more heated. This guy had a hotter temper even than Barbara, and it was like Shazam how fast he changed from Billy Batson to Captain Wolfman. There wasn't any lightning bolt, and I didn't hear the theme song playing in the background, but it happened as fast as a jump cut on an old Saturday morning TV show. And when this dude became a wolfman, I, for some reason, wasn't as scared of him as I was when I had seen Barbara change. Maybe it's because it wasn't the first time, I don't know. Maybe it was just that I was half expecting to see this jerk change. I had guessed that he was a werewolf, and so when I finally saw him change, it only sort of made me angrier at him. This guy went from being about my height and weight to much larger and 3 or 4 times as bulky. Barbara hadn't really changed in size, she just grew a snout and some fur. This guy hulked out. I don't know how such a thing is even possible. How can this much matter turn into 3 times as much matter in a few seconds? I used to have a trippy girlfriend who told me that there is no such thing as matter, that is really all energy. I guess that explains it as well as saying it was magic, right? Sometimes when I tell this story, people say that I didn't really see a werewolf. I only thought I was seeing one. They interpret it as this guy either drugging me or pulling some kind of stage magic illusion on me. But he changed into a big hairy monster standing right there in my living room. I'm certain it was real. And while he tried to intimidate me, I just shouted him down and gave him a piece of my mind, to quote that scene in The Howling. Little werewolf in-joke there. Actually, it wasn't even that I shouted, I just kept talking. Now that he was a werewolf, there wasn't much he could say to interrupt me with as I stood there, calmly listing his faults. I started with the stuff he knew that I knew about, and then I kept going on, insulting him about things that he thought he had kept a secret from me. After some time, he retreated to his bedroom and slammed the door. On that night, I got to see a werewolf sulk. So it should be clear from these anecdotes that werewolves, or at least this kind of werewolf, do retain at least some of their human consciousness while in the wolf form. If my roommate had been all animal, he wouldn't have even been understanding what I was saying, let alone feeling bummed out about it. He would have just struck me down and devoured me, right? This is one of the reasons people keep telling me that there's more than one kind of a werewolf in the world. They tell me they never even heard of the kind that I'm describing, but I know they're real. They tore my entire life apart, at least until I could get another job in a different state and reboot everything from scratch. Things still kind of suck for me, but the level of suckage is not nearly as severe as it once was. I did have one final run-in with Barbara about a week before I was moving out of town. She was acting nice, and seemed a bit sad to learn I was moving away. She and I got to talking about old times, and we went for a walk through the woods we were near. Barbara was acting romantic, and began quietly begging me for a goodbye kiss. Or more than a kiss, but she was asking for attention. I was tempted, but it seemed like a bad idea, and I tried to tell her that in a nice way. She screamed loudly, hurting my ears and scaring the crap out of me. Then she started shouting that I was doing things to her, and 3 big guys came out of the woods, one of whom I recognized. That guy screamed out my name and said I was a dead man. Then all 3 of them at once, bam! They were wolfmen, larger than before with torn clothing. And they were walking slowly, but determinedly, toward me. I reached in my pocket and grabbed my phone, fumbling with the thing to get my camera app on. The wolfmen moved toward me, and I turned my back to them, succeeding in getting the camera app on. I took a flash photo of Barbara, and they all knew the app was on. By the time I'd spun around to photograph them as well, they were back to their human forms and they were running away. So that tells us something else. They do not want people to know about their particular kind of werewolf abilities. They ran away rather than risk me getting a picture of any of their faces. And when I turned back around, I found Barbara had left the scene as well. Fortunately for me, I haven't had any more run-ins with anybody from that town in the years since I moved out. So, like I said, there are supposedly a few different kinds of werewolves out there in the world. I myself have only met this one kind, and what I've learned from my experiences with them is this: werewolves are liars. Update on my health. Hey guys, sorry for the ominous title to this one, but I felt it was something I should address publicly. I had been getting sicker and sicker, and since I'm now 60 years old, I thought it was just old age. My stomach was hurting every day. I had no appetite, no energy, and I was taking first 1, then 2, then 3 or 4 naps every day. Try and get a full day's work done when you're that tired. Good luck. I started drinking more and more coffee and sugar just to get my work done, and I found my stomach and gut getting worse and worse. A month or 2 back, I found out about tea powder made from turkey tail mushrooms and ginger that help your gut and intestinal health, and I was rejoicing that my lifetime of stomach ailments seemed to be finally ending. But then I found myself getting acid reflux worse and worse every night. I couldn't sleep at all, and my daytime naps got longer and longer. The turkey tail mushrooms work here in the moment, but they didn't heal me. So I kept having to take more each time I felt badly. There was nothing I could do to help my acid reflux, which was draining me of energy and could lead to much worse health conditions as I read online. I finally realized I had to do something, so I started researching acid reflux. I found that the American medicines for this condition seem to treat the excess acid, drying it up. This has a bad side effect in that digestion is messed up if you don't have acid in your stomach. You kind of need it there. I discovered that in 1994, the Japanese found a drug that treats this problem an entirely different way, and that Japanese method has 0 side effects if used properly. It's called zinc carnosine or zinc L-carnosine, and it's just equal parts zinc and carnosine, whatever that is. What it does is it heals the esophagus, which has been injured by the acid reflux. I do not know how it does this, but the first 2 days I started taking the pills, I could literally feel it doing its job inside me, which was incredibly weird. It wasn't painful, it was not pleasurable either. Weird is the best word to describe what it felt like. Well, my first day taking this Japanese medicine, which cost under $20 for 150 pills, I felt so much energy that had been missing from my life. I worked from 6 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. and I didn't need one single nap. That night I was so excited about it that I had insomnia and I couldn't sleep all night. When I got up the next morning, I fell right back asleep and slept till noon. But it's a chance to get back to doing more work and better work, so for me personally, this is kind of a big deal. I read some more and found that these illnesses around my stomach and my gut, which I've had to a lesser or greater degree since I was a teenager, steal your energy and make you tired. When I think of how many hours and days and weeks I've lost to this over almost half a century, it's pretty mind-boggling. So anyway, if you want to understand why I started doing shorter shows recently, is because that was literally all I could do. Even now with my energy returning, I'm finding I have to relearn focusing on my work. It's going to take the time that it takes, but at least I feel I'm on the road to recovery. And I'm more interested in doing good episodes right now than anything else. I figure it'll get faster over time, and the important thing is to do videos that are worth watching for you guys. We're making so little money on this channel now that I would be better off becoming a shoeshine boy like Underdog than continuing the show. Usually in December our revenue increases, but you would not believe how little is coming in. This country's kind of been destroyed, and I know that very few of you are in a position to help me out financially. I really do appreciate those of you who encourage me to keep going though, and I do try to do the best I can each day for you guys. We are technically on Rumble, but I haven't put up new shows in months. I think I might restart the channel there since YouTube seems to be dying and becoming less viable daily. There's no money yet for me on Rumble because the audience is not strong enough yet for this kind of show, at least not for me. But some scary channels are now drawing very large numbers there. So I have to plan for the future by uploading there as well. I have no plans to leave YouTube, don't worry about that. And I'm hoping that they can fix their platform to fit the modern world. They're kind of still living in the Obama era. It's all spooky bureaucracy where you never know when you'll be in trouble with Big Brother. I think people are done with this quasi-governmental crap from websites. I think we all want to move forward. Nobody wants to end up like England or Canada with people serving 3-year jail sentences for a retweet. That's the direction I felt like YouTube was heading in. And that makes Rumble more attractive in the long run, unless YouTube can pull itself back from the brink. So I think those are all the major points I wanted to make about why things continue to be so weird on this channel. I hope I'm starting to make longer episodes. This one's a little longer. And I'm going to be compiling all the recent short episodes none of you have been watching into one longer Winter Dogman show that hopefully some of you will be watching. I'm still working on the new story for that one that starts to show off. Healing my stomach is the greatest Christmas gift I could ever receive. It gives me back so much energy that this 60-year-old feels barely a day over 56 or 57. But seriously, and this applies to all of you as well as me, let's hope 2025 is a happier and healthier year than 2024 was. And happy holidays, everyone.
Comfort t-shirt for 2024. Scary Skull logo is back for more. You won't find the sucker in any store except for our online store with scary merch galore. No matter how big or small you are, we've got a Scary Story Skull t-shirt in your size. Modeled here by actual werewolves, but made to fit humans as well. A link is in the description. T-shirt for 2024. Scary Skull logo is back for more. You won't find the sucker in any store except for our online store with scary merch galore.
If you want a coloring book full of monstrous delight, then give this a look. It'll give you a fright. Scary Stories coloring book, werewolf coloring book. And just to make your mind explode, it's a digital download. All it costs is $2.09, and then you will be feeling fine. Coloring monsters today, it's a coloring book, hooray. Okay, link is in the description.
If I wear a spinny hat, will I look all hunky? Will I look like that handsome chap from that TV show, The Monkees?
Everybody wants a wooden cat. The Scary Stories beanie hat. Everybody knows it's a natural fact. The Scary Stories beanie hat. Link is in this video's description if all goes according to plan. Available in black, which is like every color all at once, man.
Thanks, Biggie. And thanks to all of you for watching this far. If you liked it, please click like. If you'd like to see more of our work, please subscribe. And also click that bell icon if you'd like to be notified when we put out a new episode. To become an executive producer, you can donate to us through the thanks button under each of our videos or through our paypal.me/PeterBernard209 page. To receive cool perks like secret uncensored Dogman episodes far too wild to ever run on this channel, you can become a YouTube channel member by clicking the join button, or join our PayPal subscribers club at peterbernard.com. Joining either at the $3 a month level or above gets you access to our over 25 hours of secret uncensored Dogman stories available nowhere else. Do you have a scary story about Dogman or some other kind of high strangeness that happened to you? Let us know by emailing us at scarystoriesnyc@gmail.com or by leaving us a voicemail message at 804-LA-SCARY. You may need to call back on that when it cuts off after I think 3 minutes. And if you don't want to do any of that stuff, thank you for simply watching to the end. Good night, and have a scary tomorrow.
Come back for more scary stories.